I don't buy a lot of used guitars anymore. I think the prices have gone up and it's harder and harder to find good value in the used guitar market. But I think one place where you can still find good value in used guitars is in Japanese Ibanez's. Now, Ibanez is obviously a Japanese brand, and people see the Japanese-made models as being better build quality, more desirable, but you can still pick them up on the used guitar market for surprisingly cheap prices. I think there's a lot of them out there, and they're not as in demand as, say, American-made Fenders and Gibsons are. So it gave me an interesting idea. Now, this is not a used guitar. This is the most affordable model in the Ibanez Steve Vai Jem line, called the Jem Jr. Now, it doesn't look exactly like a Jem because it's got black hardware instead of gold, and it has a plain white pick guard. It also doesn't have DiMarzio pickups, it's got Ibanez made pickups, but it's a very affordable guitar. You can pick one up brand new in the UK right now for around £400–450. Me thinking of a really interesting experiment to try. I thought, what could I pick up on the second-hand market for either the same or less than this? And would it be better? So I found this. So this is a made in Japan RG470. Now, it's about 20 years old, which you might think sounds really old, but it's actually not too bad for a guitar that's been well built and kept in good condition. And this thing has been kept in good condition. It's got a few superficial dings and scrapes on the body, but everything else is in great shape. The neck is in great shape. The frets have got loads of life left in them. The pickups work absolutely fine. All the hardware is in excellent condition. And so, yeah, I paid less for this than the price of a new Jem Jr. But the question is, where are you better off spending your money? On a brand new Indonesian-made Jem Jr. or on a used Japanese Ibanez RG? So first of all, let's talk about playability here. So I started off by trying to set the action on both guitars as low as I could to see how low I could get the action before the strings started to buzz and choke out. So I set up the Jem Jr. first, and it was very, very easy to get a very low action on this, which really suggests that the fretwork on this is excellent. Now, Japanese Ibanez's are known to have excellent fretwork, but I can tell you this Indonesian-made Jem Jr. also has excellent fretwork. It really, really plays well. Now, the Japanese second-hand RG, I had to spend a little bit longer getting it as low as I got the Jem Jr. So I had to put a bit more work into this one. And I suppose, you know, you might expect that with a second-hand guitar, that you might have to work a bit harder. Eventually I had to put some shims underneath the bridge saddles, a couple of the saddles, to get it playing with as lower action as the Jem Jr. Now, I know that setting up a guitar is one thing that might put people off from buying a second-hand guitar. They might think, oh, I'm not confident to set up my own guitar. And if you do buy a second-hand guitar, you're almost certainly going to have to set it up as the first thing you do. But I would say, in response to that, that if you're going to buy a guitar, like either one of these has a Floyd Rose style bridge on it and it's got locking nut, you're going to need to do some setup work. You know, regardless of whether the guitar is new or secondhand, you are going to need to do some setup work, and there's plenty of videos on YouTube teaching you how to do it. So don't be afraid to set up your guitars. It's something that every guitar player should know how to do. feel is slightly different on the two guitars. The neck is a similar thickness on both. They both have quite thin necks. The real difference is in the finish on the neck. So the RG has a slightly glossy finish, and the Jem Jr has more of a matte finish. Now, this matte finish on the Jem Jr is really very frictionless, so it really feels like a fast neck. Now, it's a small detail, but it does help the Jem Jr feel just that little bit more playable. So I would have to say, even though both guitars play excellently, in terms of playability, I would have to give the slight edge to the Jem Jr. It really is surprisingly good guitar from that point of view. So the next thing we should compare is the sound of the pickups. Now, both guitars have pickups made by Ibanez. The Jem Jr has what are called Ibanez Quantum pickups in, and the RG has the V7, V8 and S1 pickups, which were really common in Ibanez's of this generation. So which ones sound better? Now, both are HSH configuration, 2 humbuckers and a single coil with a 5-way selector switch. Now, the Jem was really the original Super Strat. So the 5-way selector switch is like a Strat, but in these guitars you get a humbucker in the 1 and the 5 position, and then in the 2, 3, 4 position you get your Stratty single coil sound. So let's compare these pickups and see if either one sounds noticeably better than the other. listen back to those sound samples, I think again I would just slightly give it to the Jem Jr. I think you're getting a slightly bigger range of tones from the Jem Jr. and I think those single coil stratty sounds are a little bit more kind of authentically Strat sounding. So it's really close again. Both guitars feel and play very, very similar, I have to say, especially after I've set them up. But yeah, I think I'm just slightly preferring the Jem in most respects. But if I'm being completely honest, if I was to pick just one of these guitars, the guitar I would pick would be this one, which doesn't make much sense because it's slightly less good in most of the tests that I've done on it. But the reason why, there's two reasons actually why I would choose this guitar. One is just simply because I prefer the look of it. I'm not a huge fan of the look of the Jem Jr. I think it just looks like a very, very basic Jem. I'm not a big fan of the monkey grip, I've got to be honest. So there's the look of the thing. I prefer this guitar for that reason. And the other reason is just simply the resale value. Having bought this guitar used, I'm pretty sure I could sell it again and make back my money on it. Whereas if you buy a new affordable guitar like a Jem Jr. and then you try and sell it used, you're going to lose a lot of your money. So for those reasons and those reasons alone, I would prefer to own this guitar. But in all other respects, I have to say, this Indonesian-made Jem Jr. is just as good as guitar as the RG, if not slightly better.